Yes, so today we will test the adaptive cruise control on the MG Astor in the city roads. So I will activate now the system. The speed is set to 30 kilometers per hour. I will increase it to a reasonable value of 50 kilometers per hour. And now I've taken my feet off the pedals and you see the vehicle is accelerating and braking on its own. So let's see how the performance looks like in the city. So it has recognized the two-wheeler in front and it has slowed down and stopped with reasonable distance to the two-wheeler. And now it's slightly accelerating on its own. So with this knob here we can also adjust the distance to the vehicle in front. So you see there are multiple dotted lines there. So this is the maximum distance to the vehicle in front. I can reduce it. So you see the car is inching forward because I've reduced the distance to be maintained between the two cars. So you can also determine that. And now since the distance required is very less as per my request, it has kept a smaller gap between the two cars. So this is useful in city limits, otherwise you have a lot of two-wheelers cutting in this space. And now you get a warning, press accelerator pedal to restart ACC. Once the car has stopped for more than few seconds, I think it's 3 or 5 seconds, you get this warning so that the car knows that the person sitting inside is paying attention to the road. So now you see the bikes cutting in and clearly recognizes the cut-in object. So now you have this car cutting in. Let's see how good. So you see it has recognized the car cutting in and it has braked on its own. So let's see how the roundabout performance looks like. And I think this feature is very useful in stop-go traffic when you have. So now you have cars here coming in, so it has recognized that car. It has maintained the speed. Yeah, as I was saying, this feature is very useful in city limits when you have stop-go traffic and you're returning from office after a hard day at work. So you can just relax and just maintain the steering and not worry about the pedal inputs. So you see this stop-go traffic and the car is doing all the work related to the pedals on its own. So it has now braked. And you can always keep looking at this display here, so it shows a car ahead if it's recognizing a car ahead, so that way you can be sure that it's behaving reasonably as it's supposed to. So it cannot detect pedestrians, that's something you need to be aware of. So there was someone crossing the road and there's no display indicating that. So it's not as advanced as maybe a Tesla autopilot, but it's reasonable enough performance for stop-go traffic. And soon we will enter the highways, so let's see then how the highway performance looks like. And we will also try the auto steer function, so which works at speeds above 60 kph. So now you see, because we're stationary for a long time, it has asked me to just tap the accelerator pedal to indicate that I'm on the steering wheel and looking at the road. So now you saw there the behavior was not very reasonable because there was a curve and it started accelerating. So that's something the ACC is not very good at. So it has no information about the map. There are higher versions of ACC where there are features which actually look at the map and control the speed. But what is available in the MG Astor is a very basic ACC function where you can look at the lanes and then govern the speed based on the objects in front of us. So now I will set the ACC again, the required speed. I will set it to 80 kph, which is the required speed limit at the highways. And now I have also activated the auto steer function. So you see the blue lines, so these show that it's actually looking at the lanes and governing the vehicle. So now let's change lanes because there's a very slow moving three-wheeler on the other track. So now so now all the features are active. lane keep assist has now quit because we have reduced the speed below 60 kph. So at speeds below 60 kph, there's no lane keep assist, so you have to hold on to the wheel. But the acceleration and braking is all on its own, so I'm not doing anything with the pedals. As you can see, it's doing all the work. Let me increase the speed, increase the distance to a farther range because we are at highway speeds and it's safer to keep a larger gap between the two cars. So I've increased it. You can see with the dotted lines there. And now let's see how the car behaves. Change lanes. The car should accelerate on its own. So you see the car has started accelerating, but it's a two-wheeler, so it has braked again, and there are some more cars merging onto the highway. Yeah, it was not recognizing this car, so I had to intervene manually. Let's change onto the faster lane, and the system is active now. I set the speed to 75. Let's see how it behaves. So there are a bunch of two-wheelers ahead. Let's see how the system behaves. It's usually difficult for the system to correctly detect two-wheelers, so you always have to be a bit careful around two-wheelers. But let's see how it performs in this case. That's reasonable behavior. Going to the two-wheeler there. So we are approaching again some stretch of stop-go traffic, so I will reduce the range to the vehicle ahead so that we don't leave enough space in front for other vehicles to merge. So yeah, I had to intervene here again manually. That was not very good. The green symbol there indicates the system is active, so I just have to tap the accelerator pedal. So again I had to intervene because if people don't stick to their lanes, it's difficult to detect cut-ins. So here I'm intervening manually, and I think once we have a bit of clear stretch, I will activate the system again. Just set the speed to 75 or 70. Now again it's active, so if you see the console here, there's a green speedo symbol along with the car, and it's green right now, indicating the system is active. And the symbol on the left is basically for the lane keep assist, and it's yellow, meaning it's standby, it's not active, because the speed is less than 60 kph, and once the speed increases above 60 kph, it will turn green, indicating the lane keep assist also is active. So now because we are driving at lower speeds, the system must be active. So we're basically following the scooter. It's roughly doing 60, 59. naturally hard, which is not impressive at all. Let me activate the system again. Change lanes. So I had to intervene because of that person there. And also crossing traffic is not something that the traditional ACC systems can detect well enough, so you always have to be careful. It can only detect oncoming or co-moving. Co-moving is vehicles along your lane, and oncoming is something which is coming towards you. So only these kind of motion directions are well detected by the systems. So when you have crossing traffic, you always have to be very careful. So here I have deactivated the system. You can see it's yellow. I'm manually intervening because there are not good lane markings and people really are not following the lane markings here. Because that was a small suburb, and now once we are back onto the highway, let me activate the system. Set speed is 70, but we are doing roughly 38 kph because of the vehicles ahead. Let me try to change lanes, or maybe not because it's even slower than the bus. Let me change lanes, increase the set speed to 80 kph, so we start accelerating, but I will deactivate now because of this very slow moving truck. Change lanes, and now activate the system again. Cruising at 80. But also activate the lane keep assist. Okay, we are doing 50, so I cannot activate the lane keep assist yet. And the lane keep assist is now active. I've deactivated now because the issue now here is there's a bike here on the track and it doesn't recognize that there's enough space in the lane, within the lane to overtake the bike. So these kind of judgments, this particular ACC system is not good at, but I've seen other systems where it can even detect there's enough space and it overtakes the bike, leaving sufficient space for the bike. It depends on the implementation from one company to the other. So when you're buying a car which has an ACC system, make sure you test drive the vehicle in all kind of conditions, because the performance might vary drastically from one company to another. So it's a tech product, and the implementation of the technology can vary a lot from one company to another. It also depends on what kind of sensors are used. So some systems just use a camera mounted on the windshield. Some systems use a fusion system where there's a camera and a front radar. and some advanced systems use cameras all around the car with front radars and corner radars, and also corner radars on the back. So there's a host of variability in these systems, so you have to make sure you test the product. If you're taking an ADAS package, make sure you test the ADAS performance on highways, on city roads before you take the call. So this video I've made just to show the implementation, how it is, and what kind of performance you can expect, and what are the drawbacks. So as you saw, there are issues detecting crossing traffic, there are issues detecting motorbikes. So these are something you need to be aware of. And also the lane keep assist only works above a certain speed, which is also very irritating. If there's a motorbike going at 59 or 40, then your lane keep assist is deactive again. So you need to be constantly aware of what systems are active and what inputs it expects from the driver. So now again, let me activate, set the speed to 80, and let's see how it looks like. Let me change lanes. So I expect the car to increase the speed. Now you see there was absolutely no detection of the bus, which is rather shocking. And activate it back again. So now we are at 37, which is the speed of the bus. And this time it has braked. So here again I have to intervene manually. Activate back again. So following a particular vehicle ahead is not a big issue. It performs pretty well, even if the vehicle ahead is braking rather steeply. The issue lies in when there's an object cutting into your driving lane, and then the detection of it depends. It's very sketchy. So here again I had to intervene because I was not happy with what speed the car was keeping very close to the pedestrians. Active back again. Let's see how it behaves now. So there's a car cutting in, and this time it was good. I was happy with the distance it kept to the car ahead. stopped on its own. Now, if I restart, so I see it has not detected that bike. Sharp disc braking. So have to be careful around two-wheelers. Stretch, we were doing speeds above 60 kph, so that we can also test the lane keep assist. So now we are 61, so the lane keep assist is now active. It's shown by the blue lines on the dashboard. And now there's a steep curve ahead. Let's see how it does. So it's just asking me to hold the steering wheel just to provide a light torque to the wheel so that it knows I'm looking at the road ahead. Now you see both the symbols are green, showing all systems are active. It's just giving some warning, asking me to hold onto the wheel. And now because we are at lower speeds now, less than 60, so the lane keep assist is now deactive. It's shown by the yellow symbol on the top there. Change lanes. Now this is a bit tricky here. So it has braked completely for that bike. Now accelerated again. So I didn't do anything there. Also, another downside to this HMI is the vehicle shown ahead is always a car, irrespective if it's a truck or a bus. It always shows a car, so it's not very confidence inspiring for the driver. It would have been better if it was something like the HMI in the Tesla, where it actually shows what kind of object class the vehicle is actually detecting in front of it. And also it doesn't talk anything about the objects around the car, it only talks about the vehicle ahead, just one target vehicle ahead. It would have been nice if it also showed what kind of objects are around the car. So these kind of small HMI features would actually boost the confidence of the driver to trust the system more. But unfortunately in this model here, or rather in MG Astor, you only get this very very basic ACC system. So now again we are in the suburban area, so let's see how it behaves in city traffic. here I have to intervene because there are a lot of crossing pedestrians, and that's something this system cannot detect, so I can ask for it deactivated. So now again we are back on at 85 kph. There's also a stationary obstacle now on the road, so I have to deactivate it. This is something the system cannot detect, such kind of stationary barricades, so you cannot expect the car to brake for such a stationary obstacle. So it's better you overtake manually and now set the system back again. So here again, there's a vehicle on the very left, and there's enough space. As a human driver, I would rather overtake, and that's what I will do. This system just thinks there's not enough space with the two-wheeler on the edge of the road. So this kind of performance depends, as I said before, like from one company to another, how the implementation is done. And this particular model, I'm not happy with the performance of inlane overtaking. So here I will do everything manually and now set the system back again. You see this car is turning left, and that's the reason we have also slowed. Again, the lane keep assist is active because we are doing speeds above 60 kph. I just have to gently tap on the wheel so that it knows I'm paying attention to the road. So you see it's doing the job effortlessly. Now the system is deactive again because we have reduced the speed to less than 60 kph. And also another thing is it cannot really detect these speed breakers, so if you were to keep the system active, it would take the speed breakers at a rather high speed. So I have deactivated the system again so that I can brake sufficiently for these speed breakers. Now, once we are off, I will set the system again. Okay, at this stage, we are getting off the highway at the next intersection, so I will deactivate the system.